3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome to Camp Slash Horrorcast, where we talk horror movies from the past every Monday at 8 p.m. Central. I am your head camp counselor, Doc. We are here with other head counselors. We have Raph. Shocks are so much better absorbed when the knees are bent. Ramirez. Raph, how are you, sir?
Fantastic. What's up, guys?
What up, what up? Next, we got Miles. What religion can they possibly be learning jumping over bonfires? Francis. Miles, how are you, sir?
Heated, man. Heated from coming over to the bonfires.
No doubt. Remember when you were a kid, you used to do that, and you got older, and you're like, nah, I'm not going to do that anymore.
I just didn't do it naked.
I haven't hit the age yet where I've decided it's that bad of an idea, I'll be honest.
Next, we got Jay, but they're naked. Summer McSiles fucks. Summer McSiles fucks. Hi, Jay. How are you?
Well, they certainly don't want to jump over those bonfires with their clothes on.
Yeah, you're right.
And finally, we got Alex. And what are the true God? He's dead. Can't complain, but he had his chance in modern parlance. He blew it. Rutan, as I said I was going to say it. How do you say it again? Roughton. How do I get that so wrong? How are you, Alex?
I'm doing great. Can't wait to talk about the Wicker Man.
Fuck yeah, dude. Welcome to the podcast. Guys, we watched The Wicker Man, released in 1973, December 6th to be precise. Running time, 88 minutes with a budget of £500,000. Box office, $76,701. So it made a little bit of its money back. It didn't. All right, synopsis. A Puritan police sergeant arrives in the Scottish island village in search of a missing girl who the pagan locals claim never existed. Let's check out a trailer. All right, here we go. How do I trailer again? Okay, here we go. No, next one. Stupid.
Another cool poster.
There we go. It is a cool poster.
I could a tale unfold whose lightest word.
No volume.
Oh, you can't hear it?
Nope.
No.
Shit. One moment, please.
Come on, Doc. This ain't your first rodeo.
Yeah.
Golden rigs and barley rigs.
No, don't do it.
Can you hear it now?
Yeah, corn rigs and barley rigs. That's all I fucking hear.
Not sure what this 70s synth like stone
Porno
rock is.
music. That's the 70s porno music.
It's good to see that the deceptive trailer has always been a thing.
Absolutely.
They're still doing that. They're still doing that.
That's a deceptive movie.
You gotta trick the audience into going to see art films.
Bro, that was the scariest scene in the whole movie.
What?
Fucking clown.
You wouldn't want to go see this movie based upon the fact they're shoving frogs down people's throats?
Well, I gotta see it based on that.
Yeah, 100%. Dead bodies. This is getting away quite a bit in the movie, isn't it?
I was gonna say, are they gonna show that she was faking here? That's messed up, man.
Yep.
Like, what a stupid reveal.
Hello.
Bro, you think that beetle got out of that desk?
No, that beetle never got out of that.
God.
Never. All right, that's enough of that trailer.
Yeah,
Guys,
please, bro.
let's talk history with the movie. We never make it through a whole trailer. All right, let's start with you, Raph. Do you have any history with this, or you just watched this today?
None whatsoever. Just saw it today.
All right.
Have mixed feelings about it.
All right, we'll talk it through here in a minute. Jay, this was your pick. What's your history with it?
It's gonna be a little long-winded, guys, but back in 1996, one of my best friends, Dale Livingston, rest in peace, worked at a movie, like a video store called 2 Day Video. And this place had some of the coolest fucking horror movies of all time. It had every Faces of Death. It had tons of the spaghetti slashers, and this is mid-90s. So, like, this place had a bunch of, like, a little off-kilter kind of stuff. And I saw this one video. It was just the history of horror throughout the years. It was from, like, the 80s.
Are you using that igloo mic, Jay? Can you push it away?
No, I'm not.
Okay, never mind.
I'm not.
Okay, so go ahead, back to it. I apologize.
Am I just too loud?
You're very, very loud. You're peaking. It's fine.
I can fix it.
We'll deal with it.
Anyway, so yeah. So anyway, so we got this one video which was more of a history of horror, and it went through a bunch of different decades. And one of the things it went through was the folk explosion of the 1970s, and it showed the maypole scene, a few other things, and it showed the finale, which we already know. And I was like, well, that's pretty trippy. And then about 6 or 7 months later, I actually rented the actual Wicker Man, and I fucking loved it. I've probably seen it 10 or 20 times, and I even somewhat like the Nicolas Cage just because I love the fact that they actually remade the Wicker Man. I think that's a real sign how much the original was respected. So yeah, I got a lot of history with Wicker Man, a lot of it.
Nice. Very nice. It sounds like you got a hold of one of those David Jessup tapes he used to make when he was tripping acid, where he just took clips from movies and like put it together. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely. So it was like it would of course it would start with silent movies and whatnot, and then talked about monster movies with them and Godzilla, and then Psycho in the '60s, and then it just talked about the whole hippie movement, and then there's one thing, this movie is just filled with hippie nuances and psychedelics, and this movie fucks.
Yes, it does. Literally,
fucks.
literally, sex, and then a little bit of titties. Miles, you got history with this?
I'm a lot closer with Raph than I with Jay on this one, man. Like I saw the Nick Cage version when it first came out, and I thought it was absolute garbage. I watched this for the first time today, and of all the movies I've watched on acid for this podcast, this is the one that I should have watched on acid. I probably would have enjoyed it so much more. I admittedly did get a little bored. I thought that it was just very weird pacing. I was unexpected. I was very thrown off by just like the random song numbers. Again, on drugs, I think I would recommend this movie. In my current mindset, I was just kind of like, all right, well, this is a way to spend an hour and a half.
Oh, another song.
Does this classify as a musical?
Yes, I think it does.
Bro.
Fuck yeah. The fact is that the band for this, it's called Magnet, literally was a band that was brought together to only do this soundtrack, and they never did anything else after.
And then on top of that, they brought them in. They didn't know they were going to have to film their parts in the movie, so they're just like, "Yeah, you guys got to come in on this date and lip sync it."
I could see if you have like oh, good.
Oh, that's why it feels so like separated from the rest of the movie too. I was wondering about that. Those scenes that that the singers are in, it feels like they
a
just shot
music
that
video.
Yeah, like they shot that an entirely different day or like on like a month or something like that.
Some of it almost felt like a commercial, like how like you'll like be walking through and like somebody will just break out into song about like Folgers or whatever.
Or like an old Benny Hinn episode. Like it felt like they were doing bits and whatnot. Yeah, like Paul Giovanni, he's the lead singer, and he's the one you see there who's singing and just looks absolutely bored. He looks like a stereotypical like 80s or 90s bored singer in a video.
He looks drunk.
It just works, man. It just worked for me.
I could definitely see if you had love for this movie from like childhood, like you talked about watching it with your friend in the 90s, and like I can see if you saw it early enough and like it made an impression. But like I've seen Midsummer, bro. Like that's a way better movie. If I were gonna go back and rewatch it at this point, I just watched Midsummer.
I will humbly disagree.
We'll get into it. Let's finish with our histories. Alex, you have history with this. You love this movie, right?
Well, I do love this movie, but I actually didn't see this movie until I was like in my early 20s, and the first thing I saw, just like Miles, is I saw the Nicolas Cage Wicker Man first when I was like 11 years old, and I didn't see the original one until like 10 years later. So, but I mean, I fell in love with it. My biggest complaint about this movie, though, is that it's only an hour and a half, and it drags so much towards the end. Yeah. Like, I feel like it feels longer than an hour and a half. I mean, and I just watched it like 2 hours ago, just a refresh on it, and same opinion. It just drags so much in that last act.
Yeah, it does, but at the same time, I think that's part of it. It makes it better because once the reveal of the Wicker Man happens,
it drives you nuts.
It's just not enough people busting out into random songs in the third act.
They need more like, we're going to the Wicker Man, the Wicker Man.
Burn, baby, burn.
Yeah, burn, baby, burn.
That payoff is worth the wait for sure. Even though, I mean, again, it's only an hour and a half. Hour and a half long movies usually don't feel this long to me, and for some reason that third act just drags so much.
It was made in 1973, bro. You got to give it a little bit of slack. Like they couldn't have done a huge car chase at the end of it. You know what I mean? Like
I wish they would have.
I want to see Michael Bay's remake of this film. See what happens. That's probably the explosion.
Well, I think that. Oh well, I towards the end I have a funny anecdote about the Nick Cage version, but the thing is, like, for this movie in the beginning, I also have like history of some of the characters. I watched The Equalizer back in the '80s, and if y'all don't know, if y'all seen the Denzel Washington movie, The Equalizer,
Yeah, of course.
any of you?
No. No.
Well, anyway, that's a remake of a TV show, and the guy who played the original Equalizer was Edward Woodward, Sergeant Howie.
Yeah.
So he's a really established actor, and of course, you got Christopher Lee, man. I mean, Christopher Lee makes every movie he's in better.
And he
did
was
his
really
voice.
he was solid in this. He was the most
Yeah.
enjoyable part of the film.
He did it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on
that's
top
wild.
of doing this movie for free, he has got on record saying that this is his absolute favorite role of all time.
I
Hey,
did
Miles,
Pretty
I
high
think there were
praise from Christopher Lee.
more enjoyable things than his fucking presence.
See, dude, no, I'm gonna counter that, dude. Even the nudity in this movie was boring by comparison
Oh,
to this.
no,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. Oh, you guys are what? You guys are into like
Orgy
70s
outside of the
Bush and
tavern?
whatnot.
Yeah,
but-
bro,
but-
I'm a big fan.
Real
But I think that your opinion is, however, swayed being 30 years into a world where nudity is literally at your fingertips. For 1973,
100%.
This movie-
I agree.
this movie is about as avant-garde as you can get for
Yeah, hell yeah.
1973.
Hell
Again,
This-
if I had
this-
seen it as a kid, if I had seen it in the 80s or 90s at any point, like I'd watched it when I watched most horror movies, I'd probably
Right.
been like, "Yeah, dude, I love Wicker
Yeah.
Man." But
See, that-
you know,
And so
they,
that's
they
why
were
I
nice,
actually
they
give
were
it.
nice tits. It was fine.
One thing I try to do, one thing I definitely try to do with movies, and I'm not faulting anyone for however they see them, but like even back then when I was 15, 16 years old and I saw this movie, I like to see movies like I am in that time period.
Mm-hmm.
So when I see those movies, I like, how would I have been like a 16-year-old in 1973 watching this? I would have been
Offended?
like, I would have been watching this with the volume down, hoping my parents don't walk in, because
Mhm.
I mean it's borderline just pornography to some
sure.
extent.
But
But
if I had to
yeah.
pretend I was watching this in 1973, I'd have to watch it from like inside my dad's testicles. I don't know if that's gonna work.
Fair enough. But I also like the fact that being in America, which for lack of a better word, a lot of times is considered a quote unquote Christian country, and so it's a really cool mind bend to go somewhere where Christianity is oppressive while also very much in the minority. And so I think that dichotomy with the land of Summer Isle, I think that just made it very fresh. I just thought it was a very refreshing movie. Plus anything folky, like folk in general is just so I still don't think there's enough horror movies that are folk induced. They actually have a folk collection on Shudder right now, which I highly
Mhm.
recommend. But
Mhm.
it's still not even tapped. It's still not even tapped now in 2020s. I think it's one of the last frontiers of horror that we could really go places with.
Mhm.
Yes. So
I know one thing. I'd tap that ass on that.
Funny,
That's for sure.
Funny story about that ass raft. That was actually a double. Her front, when you see her like top,
When she's
like,
dancing, that was crazy.
yeah, when she's back, that was actually a double. And Britt Eklund, that actress, was actually very upset because she said her ass is too big, and I'm like, well, finally a movie that Javi would appreciate. He would enjoy it.
That fucking ass was huge. All right, I didn't get into my history real quick. I saw this movie when I was 23 years old. I was very sick. I had a cold. I was drinking a hot toddy. I kept refilling it with whiskey and the tea, and just sat back and enjoyed the hell out of this. It was very relaxing. I was very stoned. I was very sick, and that was the only time I've ever seen it before, but I loved it. It was a great experience. I just thought it was a great fucking movie. The music did throw me off, though. The fact that, like, now that I'm used to the idea that they're going to sing, but at first when they started singing, I'm like, what the fuck are we watching? Like, what did I put in? And then this time watching it, it fits so well. I think the music makes this movie in so many ways.
Phenomenal.
It makes the
Phenomenal
atmosphere. It makes it feel even creepier. You guys said it was kind of like a commercial. It shows how detached they are from reality, of most realities, what we consider reality within, let's face it, a Christian funnel, I guess, because a lot of us were probably raised within Christianity. And so whenever they're giving into their pagan beliefs and doing pagan things such as dancing nude around the Stonehenge, it
Or
looks
thinking
absurd.
about sharing the landlord's daughter.
Oh, fucking amazing! And she's right there. I thought that was awesome.
Right in front of the landlord too.
And she was like, "It's fine," and he was like,
you
"It's fine."
Well, and I don't think
Landlord charges
and he
rent
was
for
just
that,
like,
dude.
He was
Well,
singing
I-
along.
yes, pass my daughter around.
Yes, have fun
please.
with my daughter. Have fun with my
Hold
daughter.
down. Hold down.
It was.
Another, well, one thing I really like about their religion is that they felt so comfortable with it, and that's where I thought the acting was really good. Where it didn't look like they were ashamed or anything, and that's one of the pillars that Lord Summerall is making fun of Howie about. He's like, you embrace a religion that's about guilt and hate and
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Is like we love ourselves.
Yeah.
You're mad at us for it.
Jay,
But
if
at
you're
the
an
same
actor, if you're an actor and they tell you that you have to act natural while you're fucking this girl, you're not gonna act nervous. You're gonna act natural.
Well, I'm saying the acting. And especially for such a shoestring budget, and like, it just looked like this movie just looked like everyone was having the time of their life.
And
Yeah,
nobody
every
got
bit of it.
paid. Everyone did it for free, basically. Even Christopher Lee, he paid to go out and promote this movie afterwards. He considered this until his death the greatest movie he ever did.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, it was
cool.
Christopher Lee. He had 300 movies to his credit. You know what I mean?
Dude,
I
I can't
agree.
say I disagree too. This is my favorite Christopher Lee movie of all time. Out of all the Dracula movies he's done, this is the best one.
Yeah.
Well,
And I
I've already
like-
talked some trash about the movie itself. I will say I do love the idea of like the religious cult like as the main source of the antagonist in a movie, basically. Like I feel like this is far more likely to happen than like a monster under your bed or like an alien invasion or something. Like I
Yeah.
could easily see an island of people worshiping something to the point where they're like, yeah, we could kill a child a year, or
Yeah, it's happened with American cults before.
for sure. Yeah. It's something that's absolutely just straight out of our history books, but I could easily still see happening again.
What's so
Well,
weird?
and that
Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
no, I'm sorry. No, you're good. I was just that island. That's a real island in Scotland. I don't know if it's called Summer Isle, but that is 100% shot. in
It's called
Scotland.
Epstein Isle.
Little
I had
St.
read
James.
that one of the actors actually went back to the island like decades after the film was shot, and they actually still saw like a makeshift cross that like they had made during the film by just crossing like two boards over each other, and that island
yeah.
is so just remote that it was still like completely undisturbed.
Well, the legs of the Wicker Man were there for 30 plus years, and then somebody on a four-wheeler stole them, which is so random. So random. I was going to say, talking about the Christians versus the pagans, when I watched this when I was younger, very still in that Christian train of thought, where I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they're sacrificing this guy, these evil, evil people. And now that I'm older, I'm more in the pagan train of thought, where I was watching it almost like rooting for the pagans. Like, you guys are kind of killing this right
Absolutely.
now. Like, I kind of get it,
yeah,
what
dude,
you're doing.
fuck that backwards Christian
Yeah,
dude.
what is it? With this boring
Yeah.
shit. They're fucking in the fields. This is what I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
The
He's
whole
repressing
movie,
their culture, dude. Let it, get rid of them.
the whole movie is just the stuffy Christian guy comes in and fucks up the party, basically.
No abortions for anyone. That's good.
Yeah, he's
yeah.
got his
Yeah,
Bible
what-
and he's
what are
telling
you-
everyone how to have fun.
Oh, dude, what are you fucking on this island? You can't do that.
What the fuck?
Well, even to the point where, he's a Christ-like figure in some ways. I mean, he's burnt on the
Mhm.
cross, basically.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. He at one point goes up to that tomb and he knocks the shit over, almost like Jesus toppling the tables. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's a lot of
Yeah.
allegory to like him being a Christ-like figure, which happens in a
Right.
lot of writing and movies and stuff like that. But I thought that was cool.
And he's no pussy. He's definitely no pussy. Like Howie being one person against this whole island, I think he showed a lot of bravery.
Yeah,
for
but he's
sure.
also arrogant, and that's his downfall because he feels like
I
his
agree.
power is
He's
It's
protected.
on
Almost
point
cops.
with Christians, though. Let's be real.
And with with cops.
That
Arrogant
too, his arrogance
He's double
is
downing it. He's
it's
double
his
down.
Achilles heel. It gets the best of him at the end of it because every time he's like, "Well, we'll bring the cops over here and they'll get you," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "What? Who's coming with
They
you,
just
dude? You
laugh.
showed up in a fucking
Yeah.
plane.
You're
What are you
lucky they
talking
came
about?"
out and got you with the dinghy, or you'd
Yeah.
still be stuck
Can
in
you
the middle
get
of the
the
lake.
dinghy, please? Can you get the dinghy, please?
Diggy, please. One diggy.
All right, so
One
is
diggy for me,
the
mate.
Beetle him? Is the Beetle supposed to be him? Like they say
Absolutely.
a lot of-
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I was wondering. Also, Summer Owl's house is fucking huge. What is going on there? dude?
Castle.
Yeah, dude, it's definitely a castle. I was like,
Well, it's Daddy's home.
it was
Yeah, it's
so
his island.
beautiful. It was so beautiful when it was filmed. I was like
great-granddaddy.
shocked by how beautiful it was. Like, there's a couple shots in this movie that are absolutely gorgeous, but that was one of them when they filmed the house. I was like, wow, that's really impressive. Does the movie drag? Yes, it does, especially in the
Yes.
third act whenever they're doing chase scenes and they're fucking with him. But I think the whole movie is them fucking with him, and it's kind of wonderful to see because he thinks he's smarter than everyone on that island, and even the children are smarter than him.
And they're
Even
always
the
one
guy-
step ahead of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
Even the guy at the end says, like, we've been controlling every move you've made since the moment you got on the island, and like, yeah, there was some beauty in that for sure.
They didn't have to show the landlord tied up like 4 times though.
Yeah,
They kept
Yeah, I
going
know.
to him. I'm like,
thought that
"You
too."
fucking right.
it's a
Yeah.
misdirect though, is what it is. It's to reassure you he hasn't got out, he hasn't warned them, blah blah
I don't
blah.
know.
It's one of those things where it needs to be there to kind of show that they've always had him under their thumb at all times, and that's what's going on. We talked about the songs. What's the anecdote about the Nick Cage version, Jay?
Oh, it's more of a mashup for an ending. I mean, it's fucking wild. All right, so as y'all know, he suffers a very similar fate to Sergeant Howie in this movie, where he gets burned up. But he's also a motorcycle cop, right? And so Ghost Rider came out like 6 or 7 months after this movie, and so I still want to do it. I think we could do it. I wanted to do an edited mashup where at the end of Wicker Man, when he's getting burnt up, it shows him rise with that flaming skull, and he just fucks up the whole island. And I
That'd
think
be
and
awesome.
with Muse's Knights of Sidonia, which is a song that came out right around when that Wicker Man came out, with that playing in the background, he's like, "No one's gonna take," and he's just fucking. I mean, I was very high when I thought of this, but man, I think it could happen.
Dude, I
David
already like this
Jacob,
better
get
than
on
Ghost
it.
Rider 2.
Yeah, me too, absolutely.
All right, let's go back to the nudity not being tight. You were wrong. This nudity is tight. This
Totally
is
tight.
70s
Do you
tit.
guys know that
Oh my
Pornhub
God.
exists?
Yeah, bro.
Like,
No,
are
no,
you
no, no,
aware
Yeah,
that
it doesn't matter. It doesn't
caught me
matter.
off guard. I did not
That's
expect
beauty
an
Beauty and
orgy.
simplicity.
Listen,
30
nothing
minutes in it,
compares.
I did not expect an orgy. I was like, what the fuck? They were all fucking out there, and
They
they're
were all
really
fucking.
into
I can
it.
pull up 14 orgies on my phone on the first
If they-
page of my search. It's not that big of
they
a deal.
did it for free.
That's fine.
It's amazing acting. Amazing acting.
Yeah, but nothing's
Michael
gonna.
Bay movies and indie art films can exist in the same universe. I can still appreciate both. I could appreciate
Again,
hardcore
I
pornography
do appreciate
and
it.
the
Don't
Preach.
get me wrong. It's just
Preach.
it's not something that I'd go out of my way. Or it's like, oh man, you know what I need to see is some tits right now. Better get my copy
No,
of
and-
Wicker Man.
I don't watch Wicker Man for the tits, but whenever you're reminded they're there, it's nice.
No, that's 70 tits. That's like where it's at. Like that, it doesn't get any better than that. Like there's something about the way the curvature was with the nipple. I don't know. It was
That's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
those are oddly very 70s tits. I wonder if most of them are fake.
She was in Golden. She was in a.
Guys,
Yeah,
They're
she's a Bond girl.
models
She's a
of
Bond girl.
cars, all right? We shouldn't be talking about them. It's like,
No,
what
they
the
are
heck?
though. They were made different then.
Man, I like the 80s Mustang
What do you-
so much
what do you-
more than the 70s Mustang.
What do you think those were? 1974, 75?
Well, she was born in 1942, so she was
Yeah.
just a little over 30 when she did it.
She's in the GILF category now.
And
Yeah,
still
yeah.
hot. She's in the great gilf category at this point. Dude.
Yeah.
No. I thought the nudity was fine. This movie is such a slow burn, but I think as a cohesive piece, it works. Like even watching it today, it worked for me. Raph and Miles, what was it about it that didn't work for you? Was it the pacing, or was it just?
Pacing for me was probably the biggest part. Honestly, I'll be real. I'm enjoying this discussion of the movie more than I enjoyed any part of the movie. Like it's one of those things that I love the concept. I love the idea. I like the acting. I don't really know where exactly it fell apart. It was just so, I think, just off the wall and random at times. And I wasn't necessarily expecting that. So maybe it was just my mindset more than anything, because I was going in with the knowledge of the Nick Cage film.
Yeah.
And those are two very different animals.
Right.
Right, the
God.
Nick Cage movie is more like jump scare, like dark vibes.
Well, Miles, to answer your question, I think what you just described is how they want you to feel. Like all this stuff is just bonkers and nonsensical, and then by the end of it, you realize how it all came together. and how every little thing had its place. Why
Wait, you're
this
saying
mattered.
they were controlling me from the very beginning, Jay?
Yes,
to
they
watch
were.
it.
You stepped onto the
This
island.
was our plan to bring somebody who loved The Simpsons and will. I'm just kidding. Didn't they do a Wicker Man? Did they ever have Wicker Man in The Simpsons? That'd be a fun
I bet you
mix
they've
up.
done a parody. But I mean, they take
They have.
the sergeant character. He's a proxy for what most people are going to think. It was a statement on religion in Britain and suppression of sexuality at the time. And so most people going in this movie are going to put themselves in the avatar of the sergeant character, of the police officer. But at the same time, like I said, now watching it, I'm more on the pagan side, where I'm kind of like enjoying the festivities and the fun and the wearing the mask and all that stuff. Go ahead, Alex.
Another fun hindsight thing is, this is my own personal thing, is when you listen to the police officer's like rant at the end where he says it's all just gonna fall in on them, the next one's gonna fail. It's kind of like a look back on the hippie movement and how it died after 1969, and how like the new like more fun sexual people, their movement kind of died out because they didn't try hard enough. Instead they
That's a hot take.
put their instead they put their like everything on the back of like esoteric beliefs and drug use and sexualism, as opposed to like doing it themselves. Just a little fun thought I had while watching the movie.
I like
That's
that The Simpsons did do a parody. I'm guessing
Yeah.
that's probably a Treehouse of Horror that they did it on.
They sure did.
Yeah,
Have-
the Nick Cage Wicker Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the real deal, but whatever. I get it.
Have you seen the Irishman with Eddie Griffin? The Irishman.
No.
With Eddie Griffin. It's a new one on Netflix, and it starts just like this. He gets off on a fucking boat on some island, and it's just so fucking hilarious.
Interesting.
Right on.
Yeah. All right. Well, never mind. I thought somebody had watched it.
No,
But look,
no.
where
I
I
don't wanna
lost
get-
interest in this movie was in the third act. It was fucking dragging on too long. When he started chasing around, I thought that was pointless, but they were trying to signify that he was the Beetle right there, just going in circles.
Right.
And then the ending, look, I was on and off the whole movie. I did not like the singing at all. The fucking end is what brought me back. I was like, no way this is the whole time I was like, no way this is happening. And I clicked on the time and there was 2 minutes left. I'm like, no way this is happening. I was like, is this so it brought me back at the end. But other than that, it was really slow paced.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta
I
say.
mean,
Well,
my biggest problem with the pacing was that, like most movies in the last act, you expect things to like escalate. Like the pacing picks up a little bit, the music picks up a little bit, things get a little more intense. With the Wicker Man, the first, second, and third act all just seem to be the same pace until you get the big reveal of the Wicker Man and he gets burnt to death, and and that's obviously the huge payoff. That's totally worth it. But like that third act is just as quick as the first and second act, and I think that's the problem.
The actor did not see the Wicker Man until the scene he came over with Horizon when he was acting. So his reaction of, oh God, oh Jesus, help me, is half him, half acting. But it's
That's
mostly
pretty
him.
badass.
And
That's
like
cool.
that look on his face is like very realistic. And like they kept saying, do you want to see it? Do you want to see it? He kept saying, no, I want to see it on the day. So I think that's pretty cool. Let's go with the inverse real quick. Jay and Alex, what about this movie sticks with you and makes you really want to watch it over and over and over again?
You want to go first, Jay?
Oh, you go ahead, Alex. Go nuts.
Okay. I mean, the cinematography. I am a sucker for cinematography. I love the colors. I mean, at the beginning of the movie when he's walking around and they're really like the camera's kind of focused in on him and the flowers at the same time. The fact that it's daylight the whole time and you feel safe, but like there's something off. I mean, Midsummer does that. The most recent movie, a more recent movie, Men, does that. I love the acting. I mean, I love the story behind this movie. I feel like it's kind of bigger than the movie itself, and I love that. But like I said, this is my favorite Christopher Lee movie. I think this is also one of those movies that's just so legendary. It's kind of hard to not know about it, even if you haven't seen it. You know what I mean? That's what does it for me.
Absolutely. How about you, Jay?
Well, for one thing, what everyone's not liking about the movie is what I think is its biggest strength is its pacing, because a lot of movies, whenever a movie gives you anything, it loses its power. That's just the way I think film works in a lot of ways, and this movie does such a good job of slowly showing you something and then taking it away, and slowly showing you something and taking it away constantly to the point where it is frustrating. It is absolutely frustrating. But at the same time, the subject matter of him
start
trying to
feeling
find
like the cop.
No, here's the thing. The movie frustrates you. When you're frustrated watching this movie, you are Sergeant Howard.
Yeah.
Like the way y'all are describing it, like I didn't want to say it until now. Like that's exactly what the movie wants you to do. Like the movie really is kind of like a puppet master in that it makes you feel a certain type of way. And the other thing I really like was the use of music, and I'll give you the biggest example of that is that in the very beginning of the movie, he's in mass, right? And so they're singing their hymns and they're doing all that. And so when he's flying, you hear hymnal music, but then as soon as he basically gets right over Summerall, it drops with the corn rings, and now you know you're in a different world. That's what I'm telling you. Like, but it's unnerving. That's the whole point. The movie is meant to upset. Like it really is. It's meant to make you think. And that's one of the things that I think makes it such a legacy picture is that it absolutely makes you think. And even so, like, and one of the coolest things I liked is, first time I saw this movie was before I got into church myself, but I felt like it handled both religions with a certain type of respect so that it wasn't like one was at the mercy of the other. So that's what I mean. But even in his dying, even when he's dying, they still let him have that monologue inside the Wicker Man where he's still talking to God.
Yeah.
Well, I think that shows a lot of strength.
Died.
I think that
but in his mind, he didn't. He lived life eternal. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't insult another religion.
They both got what they wanted at the end of the day. They got their sacrifice.
Right.
He got his religious regeneration or whatever rebirth. I like what you said. Go ahead, Raph.
My emotions did go up and down like my penis did.
All that nudity.
This movie will get you there.
I appreciate me a good horny movie.
Again, guys, it's Pornhub.com. Just Pornhub.com.
Listen, man, I could also watch Boogie Nights.
Porn rigs and...
So I like what Alex said about the daylight. There is such a thing as daylight horror, where all the horror happens because we feel safe in the daylight. It's at the night the monsters come out and they creep and they live under the bed and in the closet and wherever else. But in the daylight, you're safe. Not in these kind of movies, and I love.
But I wasn't scared though. I was just irritated. And I was just saying, "Hurry the fuck up!" Or I was like, "Find something that's gonna help."
That's fair. For me, the suspense worked because I bought into the mystery and the misdirect of finding Rowan, because over and over again he was like, I gotta find her, and he was dedicated to his cause. And at the end of it, whenever she twisted it on him, when she turned her back on him, she said, did I do good? And her mother says, yes, you did good. That was heartbreaking to me. Like, you were trying to do the right thing. No good deed goes unpunished. And that's what happens with this. He didn't do anything wrong. The only thing he did was he was playing with a snake when he thought he was playing with a worm.
Can you guys imagine how many cops they got before him that got laid?
I wonder if the Nick Cage movie is a sequel. I was thinking about that earlier. It could work within the reality of being a straight sequel.
Doc, I can answer that question in a bit.
Answer it now. Go ahead.
Yeah, you Jay with the teasing.
Yeah, you got me on the hook here, man.
This is an orgy, baby. Let it out.
Well, I mean, for one thing, the Nick Cage movie takes place in America. So it's obviously, I don't consider it a spiritual sequel. There is an actual spiritual sequel to this movie.
Word? What is it?
And it's directed by the same guy, and it's very much in this whole universe. And it's called The Wicker Tree. And it came out in 2011. The story, I can give you the storyline of that. This is something that is very near and dear to my heart, because this movie came out in like 2000, I want to say 2010 or 2011, and it's about these Christian musical artists who go over to another island very similar to Summerall, and they're trying to preach, but they're actually being invited to evangelize this island that has a lot of similar types of different rituals and whatnot. And one's called the laddie, and the laddie ritual is where this guy is groomed and he's chased by all the elite like a fox hunt. It's like a human fox hunt, and so the male is actually the laddie. It was actually supposed to be a pretty decent movie with Sean Astin in the role, but he didn't take it. And I will admittedly say, Wicker Man I think is a masterpiece. Wicker Tree is much more schlock, a lot more schlock. It's just a poor production value, but I still love it, and it's a really fun little spiritual sequel with a name like the Wicker Tree. The truth be told, there were supposed to be 3 movies in this trilogy, and in the second movie, it doesn't completely go all the way of the quote unquote the pagans, and then there's a third movie, but the director died, and the third movie was called Wrath of the Gods. You can look this up on Wikipedia, and then the third movie, it's where the pagans finally get their comeuppance. It's literally like almost like Star Wars from the Wicker Man's standpoint.
Shit.
That's cool.
So it's deep.
I'm intrigued.
That sounds pretty good. I would have loved for that to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get lucky and they'll make like a prequel trilogy soon. We'll be able to check it
That-
out.
check it out.
Yeah, I'm sure some idea bankrupt studio will pick that up eventually and butcher it.
I do
This is
have
a
one
great
Star
prequel.
Wars comment. The lady had the Princess Leia hair.
You mean Princess Leia had her hair because this movie came out 4 years earlier.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Ooh.
Boom.
That was crazy.
Boom. I will say there that one character who is the bookkeeper of the records of the marriage certificate and death certificates, she wanted him. She kept giving him
That's what I'm talking
sexy
about.
eyes, like every
She
time.
was gonna fuck that whole ritual up, dude. He
Yeah.
wasn't gonna be a virgin.
He
no more.
busts in
He
that
was
room and
intimidated
she's
by
in the
his
tub
man.
and she's like, "Ooh, hi." But that's
He was a strong Christian man, and
But-
she had never met one before.
they kept
Yeah.
trying. They kept trying to let him out of it. Like they kept trying to give him like, "Go home, leave, get out of
Yeah.
here." And
Yeah.
then whenever
Get
she was
laid.
trying to seduce him, like she was like the Willow character, the landlord's daughter, was trying to seduce him. If he wouldn't have been a virgin, he would have lost his.
Guys, just the moral of this story
Yeah.
is think with your dick. That's
Yeah,
all you gotta do.
100%, dude.
Yeah, in this
Stay
one
safe
case,
out
yes.
there, gentlemen.
You don't burn a giant phallic symbol, then you're good.
I was wondering about that during my last view of this a few hours ago. Was why did they keep tempting him? Was this like I thought it was more to like make sure that he was the right one, to make sure that he was the one valiant enough to
testing
turn
the
her
value
down.
of the sacrifice.
That's
Right,
exactly what it was. That's Alex,
Exactly.
you nailed it.
But once
They
again,
wanted this.
he's Jesus in the desert. He's being tempted by Satan. And
Yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
But you're right.
Yes.
They are testing the fruitfulness of this sacrifice. You're right. I never even thought about that. This movie's great. I apologize. I really like it.
Layers, man.
Yeah.
This movie has layers, and it's more than
Nothing
just
about
it's
us
more
to
than
me,
just
man.
it's more than just its pacing and its runtime. I mean, that's a small complaint. I mean, this is movie. If I had to put it on a 1 out of 10 scale, it's an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah, that's
Easy.
why I think it's
Wow.
sticks with people.
Wow.
Easy.
Raph,
Right, too.
you got a list, Raph?
Yeah, the pickled foreskins.
Oh, word! I paused that,
shit was
showed that
metal.
to my girlfriend. I was like, "Look." She was
That
like,
whole
"Wait a minute."
pharmacy, they had a fucking
couldn't
Siamese
mess up.
twin lamb and some formaldehyde that smelled bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bro,
that whole
they
place
had
was so metal.
everything.
Yeah. The foreskins, I wondered if it was like a candy shop when you just pull them out and eat them. I was like, oh,
Bro,
God.
well, they
Yeah, hell
were
yeah.
eating it. So when they were dancing around, the girl had some of the skin, and she was eating it.
No,
or
she
doing some
wasn't. That's,
Do you
Yeah.
think those are kosher?
they're totally.
Hell yeah, they are. You know they are.
They're 100%
They're
are.
pickled. My favorite line, my favorite line in the movie is, "What about the true God? He is dead. He had his chance." That was pretty cool.
And he
Yeah.
blew it. And he
Yeah.
blew it. What a great
My-
line.
One of my favorite
Yeah.
lines is when the cop was talking about fake gods as if his was any more real than
Yeah.
theirs.
Yeah.
That was really funny to me.
Well, that's the
I had-
dichotomy of it. Like, whose God is greater? Whose God is real? What is real? At the end of the day, you can just
Yeah.
get thrown in a Wicker Man and burned to death. It
Here's
doesn't
the
matter.
hint. That's
He
a
was
trick question.
Yeah. it's-
Yeah, right. this
Right.
movie
By the way.
this movie does make me put on my like edgy teenager atheist hat a little bit.
Also,
Right,
he,
it's supposed to.
Also, he was
Yeah.
kind of a bitch when he went around like yelling at people. It shouldn't be called the Wicker Man. It should be called the Bicker Man. Thank you.
Ah,
Whoa!
Nailed it.
it was a
Nailed
good
it.
podcast, guys. Have a
Yeah.
great night.
Take care.
We're done. Cash Flash is done.
Raph, what else you got?
Yeah.
So yeah, I have to admit one of my favorite scenes is when she's trying to seduce him through the wall.
Mine
And you
too.
said she had that body double, but I could not stand the singing, but it was a really good scene, and that's when I was thinking, oh, they're trying to fuck with him because he's been so good the whole time. And
I love it.
Yeah.
That was a
I
great
honestly,
scene,
I thought that whole like her whole solo part was very reminiscent of
It was too long.
Nico. It was long, but it was really reminiscent of Nico from the Velvet Underground and Nico album. It was very
No,
like
don't know what that
breathy
is.
and I loved it.
yeah.
How dare you bring culture to this podcast?
Damn,
Sorry,
Alex.
excuse me. I thought we were discussing an art film.
No.
Yeah. How dare you bring culture and nuance
No,
to
I'm sorry.
us
Let me get back in.
shrubs?
The tits were nice, and they
Yeah.
had Bush, and someone got murdered, and that was fun.
There you go. That's what we're talking about. What
When he
else you got,
puts
Raph?
when he's in the library reading the meaning of May Day Festival, that puts a whole new meaning to me in May Day, because you see that in our culture nowadays. And what they were fucking doing was crazy. And he's like, no, they can't do that nowadays. And they turned around and did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, they're gonna kill some virgin bitch. You better run and save her. And then he turned out to be
He
that
is the
virgin
virgin bitch.
He is. He's
No.
the heat
Well,
bitch.
hey, here, I'll put it down to brass taxes. Let me ask you this: without the Wicker Man, do we have a Burning Man festival?
No,
Oh,
100%
It
right.
not.
was awesome.
There is so many similarities to the Burning Man, and that's why I kind of was looking up afterwards. I was like, man, which I would never want to go to, or would I? Somebody
No.
talked me into it. That's all I'm saying.
Gross.
No, we're totally going. All right.
All right, the last thing is when they were trying to put him to sleep, and there was a fucking burning
A
hand.
burning hand, yeah.
Bro, that was intense.
Premonition, man.
What did they think that was gonna do? I like how he just woke up and knocked it over too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Total
He
premonition.
was just like,
It was
get the
supposed-
shit
it
out
was
of
supposed
here.
to put him to sleep so he wouldn't mess with the festival, but I think they were just messing with him even more. I don't know what was going on.
I loved
That's what
that
it was.
this entire movie though boiled down to like it seemed like they were talking about him behind his back the whole time.
It was
You
totally-
know what I mean?
Dude,
like
it's-
they're like, yeah, go over there, you fucking Christian loser.
It's
And
a-
then when he'd walk away, they'd be like, what a dork.
It's a group of cats playing with a mouse, is what it is. They're
Yeah,
letting him go,
exactly.
they're grabbing him up again. They're letting him go, grabbing him up again. It's so much fun to watch, but they're also doing that to the audience, like somebody said earlier. And so you don't exactly see the twist. That's why
Like
this
a
movie
yo-yo.
holds its prestige, because the twist actually fucking works. The only problem
It
is the poster gives away the ending, and that kind of sucks. But whatever.
Well, I
It's
never
iconic.
saw it, so I'm glad I never saw the poster or anything, because I was surprised.
When you saw that Wicker Man, did it shock you a little bit? You were like, "Holy shit!" You said it
Yeah, I
shocked
was
you.
like,
See,
fucking Burning Man.
Yeah.
See, I was very familiar with this movie through like just horror history
Osmosis,
and
yeah.
watching a lot of horror content. So I think that may have also been part of the problem. Is like I knew the twist, I knew what was coming, I knew how it ended.
Hey, Duck, I gotta tell you, you are wrong. The original movie poster has nothing to do with the Wicker Man.
Right on,
Whoa.
dude. I love it. The poster I have,
Whoa.
does definitely show off some stuff, as you can.
That's
see.
why you see the. That's why you
That
see
was
the.
badass.
The original one is the sun god.
Yeah,
You
I
see
like
the
that.
sun god, which
I
was
wonder, though.
intentional so that you would not get that. I think that poster was definitely not the first run,
Yeah,
but the movie made what $60,000.
Yeah.
So I think towards the end, they're like, no, there really is a Wicker Man. Come on, come see it,
Come
please.
check it out.
Doing whatever we can put on here to make you buy a ticket.
The sun god actually bookends this movie. It opens the movie and it closes. If you watch it till after the credits, it bookends it. So it's kind of like it's parable, it's story. And
Yeah.
does it accept the sacrifice? Whenever Lord Summerall is going, or when he's yelling at Lord Summerall and he's going, next year it's you, next year it's you. And he's like, no, this sacrifice will work. And he's very confident, but scared at the same time. You can see the look in his eyes like, holy shit, next year it will be me. It's almost like a politician, like they've run their course. And he's like, no, this sacrifice will work. And he believes it with all of his heart. But you can see that little tinge of fear in Christopher Lee's eyes. Like where you're like, holy shit, they will get me next year if this doesn't work. I loved it. I thought that was great.
Well,
I didn't
this
notice
is the,
that until
This is the Wicker Tree. This is the sequel I was telling you about, the spiritual sequel. It also has the sun god visage on there, and it definitely answers kind of that question with the Lord Summerall character in
did
the
it work?
sequel.
So what
Oh,
happened?
Well, no. It's a different. Spoiler alert. In the second one, their version of Lord Summerisle, who is actually played by Graham McTavish, who played the Saint of Killers on Preacher, he gets killed. He dies in the end of the movie. Now the quote unquote Christians don't, they don't come out any better. But at least in the second one, he dies. So at least they took something. You know what I mean? They took something from him.
I kind of want to see that just to see it. Well, all right.
I'll watch it.
Well, let's get the recommend. So let's go down the line. Let's cut it in half. Raph, do you recommend the movie?
Bro, I do, but I don't. But I watch it. If you don't know anything about it, watch it. It'll catch you at the end.
I think that it's gonna stick with you, Raph. You'll see. It'll come back to you, man. Miles, do you recommend it?
Dude, I fully prepared to come into this to say, hell no, just watch Midsummer instead. But genuinely, this conversation was good, man. Alex, awesome meeting you. You brought some really good points. Jay, you always make great points. Duck, you're here too. No, I'm just kidding. You made some great. I'm stuck with you. You made some great points as well, man. But like you guys, the conversation we just had like made me like rethink some of the movie, and is like, one, I should have watched it on drugs. Two, I think next time I watch it, I will have like a better just preparedness for what I'm getting myself into.
Absolutely. Alex, how about you?
Yes, watch it.
Do you recommend it?
Absolutely. I mean, between the acting, the music, the cinematography, the history behind the movie. I mean, the movie itself is historical for setting up an entire genre, or for at least mainstreaming an entire genre. Because folk horror was a thing before the Wicker Man, but the Wicker Man made folk horror possible. And we wouldn't have Midsummer. We wouldn't have The Witch. We wouldn't have what was that really good Netflix one with I can't think of it right now, but we wouldn't have popular folk horror movies without The Wicker Man. And I absolutely recommend this movie. I recommend everyone owns this movie.
Yeah.
It's
you
great.
own a copy,
I love it.
right? That was your copy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I watched my Blu-ray copy.
Yeah, very nice. How about you, Jay? Do you recommend?
Of course. I mean, I picked it. I mean, it's just like I said. It's like Alex said. Like there were folk horror movies before, and there were folk horror movies afterwards. But whenever you talk about the greatest folk horror movies of all time, if you don't mention The Wicker Man, like in the conversation, then people think you're a total poser. And
yeah,
I would
absolutely.
Totally agree. And as far as Midsummer goes, I absolutely loved Midsummer. I just felt Midsummer answered the question. Like, I think Midsummer was made by people like Raph and Miles. They're like, let's ramp this shit up, shall we? So like,
absolutely.
That's fair.
But you got it. You got what you wanted. It still does its thing, and it still managed at the end to be creepy because at the end of Midsummer, it ain't the main character burning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like but she still
Yeah.
gets to see it. So
Yeah.
no, I think. Yeah, Wicker Man, absolutely. Probably my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time. I'll put it there. No problem.
I got one confession to make. I've never seen Midsummer. I don't catch y'all's reference for this. I've never seen it.
I can almost guarantee you. Yeah, you can almost guarantee everything you didn't like about this one. You'll be like, okay, this one did it right.
Midsummer
It's
is
the same person that does Hereditary.
Yes,
and,
Ari Aster.
both movies super solid.
Yeah.
It's also an hour longer than this movie, but doesn't
Oh, God, yeah.
feel
Doesn't feel
like it's an hour
Midsummer
longer
for
than this
me
movie.
Midsummer for me feels like somebody saw the Nicolas Cage version of the Wicker Man and went, no, we need to pay homage to the original and actually do it right, because there's so many similarities, but it's its own thing. Especially because somebody said earlier, this movie has drug references. Other than alcohol, not really. But Midsummer goes heavily into the drugs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it has all the paganism. It has all the ritual. It has everything. Midsummer is just a tight, amazing movie that holds almost the same atmosphere as this movie in a lot of ways. Excluding the music. There's no music that I remember in Midsummer. But we will definitely get to watch it
the
at
music.
some point.
The music in Midsummer is really good. The opening song in particular is very intense. I remember that.
I just think he meant it's like people aren't busting into like random songs mid script.
That makes
Mary
movies feel more
Poppins
natural. For sure. The random song numbers do make Wicker Man feel a little unnatural in moments.
But again, I do think after this conversation with you guys, like Ducky and Jay pointed out, it's like almost by design to make you feel like
Right.
Well, they have their own culture. They have their own heritage. They have their own songs
They're also-
and things. So
They're
that's
also
what's
very
important.
disconnected from like what you would call normal
Yeah.
society.
The fact that
Literally,
they get blessing
like
in the
literally
songs.
disconnected.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's freaking
Yeah.
awesome. We'll get to Midsummer at some point. That is a promise, but we'll get there. All right, let's do some clips of this movie. So let's get going. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you lost?
Hello, sir. Have you lost your bearings?
No, sir, I don't think so. This is Summer Isle, is it not?
Oh, I was going to mention this. This movie does a lot of hand cam, too, where it goes around the characters. Like, that's unique, and especially at the time to use that camera. It wasn't until John Carpenter did Halloween a couple years later that they used Handycam to such good use in the opening segment, where it's from the perspective of the child of Michael Myers. But this movie uses Handycam a lot, and I think that's pretty cool.
It is, sir.
Well, I'm right there. Now, would you send the dinghy, please?
Stop playing with your dinghy. Hairs don't have tea. I don't know what that means.
Do you,
It's a rabbit.
do you know Rowan?
Of course I do.
Oh, all the characters are named after plants, too. I don't know if you guys caught that. Planets or foliage.
You do?
Nope.
Of course I do, silly.
Do you know where she is now?
It's a weird pagan religion, I guess.
There all day.
Dude, I
It'd
kind
be
of want to
okay.
join it. I'm not going to lie.
Is she? Do you think
I
she'll
mean,
be
like
coming back for
they
tea?
for sure had a cool way of life that I don't necessarily disagree with.
Up until the sacrificing part, I'm good.
Yeah.
I
Don't be a
I
bitch.
too have the urge to fuck in a park sometimes.
Yeah, dude. 100%.
Tea, silly.
One fab landlord. I'm sorry. When this guy turned around and he was like, hey, I was just like, this guy's fabulous. as shit.
Well, funny story. I mean, I got something for everything. So this actor, I think his last name's Camp. This guy is very famous for having an affair with David Bowie. He was very openly gay throughout his entire life, obviously, and he just and he was a choreographer. He was a choreographer. He was a dancer. This is another actor who's extremely successful and very established, and yet another actor they got to in the movie.
And also 4 years older than his daughter in this movie. So that's kind of cool. Look at this, though. He's just, you can tell this dude is flamboyant as shit.
I'm Alden McGregor. And you must be.
Oh, he's eye fucking him several times.
Yeah, dude, he's getting
Hell
it.
yeah, he is.
Constabulary. My daughter Willow will show you to your room. Willow?
He's looking at him like everybody looks at
This
Willow.
is
Yeah, she is
Yeah.
definitely not wearing a bra, 100%.
Sergeant Harry.
Or any scene. They don't have bras back then.
That's what signifies a cool girl. She's cool as shit.
This is my daughter Willow.
Yeah,
Good
it's
evening.
not. The landlord's daughter, the song.
My favorite part.
This made me think of whose line is it anyway?
ID. The Irish drinking song, yeah.
Love girl.
I'd like my supper
Break it
now.
down.
It won't be long, Sergeant. Oh, you don't want to let them worry you. Why don't you have a wee drink?
He's such a
Orgy.
buzzkill.
Orgy.
And I'm like, maybe this movie's not so bad after all.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's
I'll
right
give
there
it
out
a-
in the field, man. Just getting it, man.
My biggest problem with this was there weren't more of these in the movie.
Yeah, 100%.
Hello, McGregor. I have the honor.
See, for me, it was the lighting.
Yeah, I didn't like lighting.
Come up, Ashbucat.
thought
I
it was
like
really
this idea that
creative.
she's the town whore. He brings the boys to her to kind of get them, going. You know what I mean? Like they gotta get the first round.
It's also another version of sacrifice too. It's
You're right.
he's sacrificing virginity to her.
Yeah, and he says
Eh,
that he goes, "You're Aphrodite." Like-
Yeah.
Well, he also says like the bigger sacrifice or the better sacrifice is tomorrow or
Yep.
whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
He says something like "Save your energy." He says it here.
I'd sacrifice a couple babies on her.
No,
yeah.
good
Another
stuff.
sacrifice for Aphrodite, Willow.
You flattered me, your lordship.
Notice her mouth wasn't moving.
Surely you...
Well,
Yeah,
she was
I
saving.
noticed
She was
that.
saving
I
it. She was gonna
noticed
need that. in a minute.
Yeah, 100%.
The
The ADR in
ADR
this is
in this-
terrible. It's terrible.
So awful.
There were lines where the fucking cop was ADR'd. I don't even think it was him speaking. It was horrible.
It was.
To Aphrodite.
I make no such distinction. You are the goddess of love in human form, and I am merely your humble acolyte.
I love hearing his voice, though.
It's Christopher Lee, motherfucker.
I love the.
Go ahead.
I love the soliloquy he did right after this, where it's like he does it right over the two snails fucking.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool.
Enjoy yourself and him.
Penis song.
Hell yeah. I need one of these.
They got Oliver Platt to do the song.
So, I noticed one thing about this. The little girls are inside learning while the little boys are outside like playing with a phallic symbol. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah. It would fit better with the Nicolas Cage movie with the feminism and stuff.
And of that feather was a bed.
You didn't have to clip that.
No, it needed to be clipped. The Beetle Bug.
Take it down.
There he is. That girl is 21 years old. Just so everyone
Yeah,
knows.
she looks it.
What?
Yeah, she doesn't look like a kid.
Yeah, so the actors are supposed to be between 13 to 14 in this scene, but she was 21.
Yeah.
So none of the girls running around the Stonehenge were kids, right?
No, I don't believe
Okay, good.
Why, were you
God,
jerking
no.
off during that scene? Or
Just asking for David.
No, David would be fine with it.
She's the special girl that got held back for sure.
100%.
And why in God's name do you do it, girl?
She looks like she's gonna grow up to be the short bus driver, though.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. Like she's smart enough to drive for sure.
Liars. I think I spelled that wrong.
Liars. You are despicable little
Liars.
liars. Rowan Morrison is a schoolmate of yours,
You're
isn't
the
she?
biggest liar of them all.
And
Yeah.
that is her desk, isn't it? Well, isn't it?
I think you ought to know.
And you are the biggest liar of all.
I like how he thinks that calling people liars is like the greatest bird ever.
Jay, it's one of the
Yeah.
7 deadly sins, maybe. I don't know.
Back
but
in the
it seems like
day.
it should be.
100%.
I fucked them up. I told them I called them liars. They knew who was
They,
They got
they
the
got what
comeuppance.
was coming to them.
100%.
They didn't really respect me, but once I said you're a liar, they're like, okay, this guy means business.
Got
He's
it.
gonna go back to confession and apologize and ask for like resolution for using such hateful language. But other than that, you know.
Death.
Here, we do not.
So that woman was married to Sean Connery. No doubt.
Yeah, she could get it. I'm Sean
Hell
Connery.
Dude, hey, think about this, guys. What if Sean Connery had played Lord Summerisle?
I would have loved this fucking movie.
That would have been weird.
Bernardius, definitely you in the form. I get
It would have somehow. It would have been at least 12% sexier somehow.
We believe
Oh,
that when the human life is over, the soul returns to trees, to air,
Yep.
to fire,
Yep.
to water, to animals.
She's not wrong.
So that Rowan
Preach
Morrison
it.
has simply returned to the life forces in another form.
Not a single person has a Scottish accent in this fucking movie. Did you notice that? And it takes place in Scotland. Frog.
No, it
what the
takes
fuck
place
was it,
in
Irish?
Summerisle.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Frog.
Silly girl you are to make all this fuss. In he goes.
Oh.
did she get a frog in there? Fuck that.
And
That's method acting right there. That girl's legit about to vomit.
It is.
never mind, darling. It's
Fuck
all over
that.
now. He's got your horrid old sore throat now, hasn't he, poor
I
kitty?
didn't clip it when he goes, you're all crazy. Lord Summerisle, I love him.
Good afternoon, Sergeant
Fucking
Howard.
great.
He was just
Hello.
chilling.
I've been here the whole time.
Refreshes you.
Doesn't the guy who plays Barat, I can't think of, Sacha Baron Cohen, looks just like a young Christopher Lee. It's
Yes, he
crazy.
does.
Yeah, he
No,
does.
sir. Yeah.
It does not refresh me.
Oh, sorry. One should always be open.
I am
to
not having a
regenerative
good time.
Here it is.
Those children out there,
I've come here to be a
they're
mother.
jumping into the flames in the hope that the god of fire will make them fruitful. Really, you can hardly blame them. After all, what girl would not prefer the child of a god to that of some acne-scarred artisan?
And you encourage them in this?
Acting Positively. It's most important that each new generation born on Summer Isle be made aware that here the old gods aren't dead.
And what of the true God? To whose glory churches and monasteries have been built on these islands for generations past. Now, sir, what of him?
He's dead. He had his chance.
That was crazy.
Blew it.
He blew it. I love that line. That is so
fucking great line.
So fucking good.
Fucking
That's
great
the
line.
line of the
Battery
movie.
drop.
It's so good.
That's
Wake up.
That just means he just means business.
All right, wake up. Ready for it? Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
I don't even care. I'll show it.
We're off Twitch.
Dude, it's not even a big deal. I love how he's got that horniness of a teenager right now, where he's like, I want to, but I can't.
He's ready to
I
stick
don't
his
know,
dick
dude.
in
I
that
would
wall.
argue that a 30-year-old virgin is hornier than a teenager. and
Agreed
he's
with you.
maybe
You are
older
100%
than
right. You are
that.
100% right.
Yeah.
I would have
He's
gave
just-
in.
He's just
I
jizzing all
also-
over himself.
I also realized that I am the same age as Sergeant Howie.
Yeah,
And
but
I'm like,
you're gonna lose your virginity any day now. Dude. It's gonna happen.
promise? You promise?
Just don't go into the islands until we get you covered.
If you, yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, man. You ain't going up in
Miles
that
a promise. Miles said I am supposed to.
You're not going up in that Wicker Man. We got your back. Weird alligator thing.
The dragon?
Yeah, it's a dragon. I don't know what the fuck it was. It's cracking me up.
That
though.
scene with the swords, I will say that was cool, just because like the tension in that scene was so just
We'll get there.
amazing.
Yeah, totally clip that. I like the. She wants him. This was so
the dragon
weird.
kept snapping during
This
that.
was so weird. Why was she why were all these women seduced by
That's
this virgin?
what they're trying to do. It.
He's a pure sacrifice, dude.
Dude, they were trying. First of all, women love virgins, so like they're trying to. You know what I mean? Like the whole joke that they're trying to deflower them.
Yeah.
But I think also, man, I always thought like that's another thing is they gave him so many chances to get out of it, man, and he refused. You know what? You know what he was? He was pedantic. He insisted upon himself.
100% pedantic.
I'm thinking he was just gay.
It might have been that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no dudes throwing themselves at him. That's true.
The
That landlord had thrown himself at him, it would have been over.
Get that out of here. Count Dooku and drag. I love this shit, dude.
He's even swinging his lightsaber around if you look closely.
This was really long.
He looks an awful lot like Yoko Ono for some reason.
100%.
Yeah, he does.
I was thinking the ring right there. But
Samara.
Both horrific people.
We need to watch The Ring, dude. We need to get that shit done.
I like
the American version.
Yeah.
I agree with the American version.
This is a cool shot. 100%. Check this shit out. They were doing
I'm
well
gonna
with
be
the
sick
cinematography.
that day.
The
Let's
only
do that and
lens
all the
flare.
terrible sequels.
Excellent use of lens flare. Excellent use of shadows. I like it. I dig it. 100%. I'm there. Chop, chop, chop.
Yeah, this.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I thought they killed the little girl.
I did think it would have been cool if they just like chopped the first dude's head off, just like done. That's the twist that we didn't see coming.
It's almost like their sun god showed mercy. It was all game because they were concerned. They thought that shit was real. The ocean
Nah,
gets
they were all
drunk.
fucking with her.
This reminds me of Deathbed for some reason.
I thought of Deathbed a couple times during this movie, and it was just the avant-garde style of it
Yeah.
all. But yeah,
Fucking love Deathbed, dude. That was such a good pick.
The rich and diverse fruits of your kingdom.
Hey, you know it's Budweiser because they got the Budweiser.
the Clydesdales.
Nice, good ball.
Zonk.
What's the matter, Mr. McGregor?
I hated the scene running through the cave.
I didn't
That
clip it, don't
fucking
worry.
porno music.
Yeah.
I love the music. I thought it was great.
Punch. One of the great fool victims.
She is beautiful. My God.
For you,
Bro,
There's
I
a
was
lot
just
of
saying.
blondes.
Dude, now she
for the
looks like
day.
the girl from 237 in The Shining, though.
Yep. I'm down with that, too. I'm
Right.
down with that, too.
Because she's dead.
Revealed and anointed as a king.
Check out that mini skirt back there. That was a really mini skirt for back in the day.
No doubt. The Wicker Man.
No matter what you do,
I was like, no
you
shit,
can't
bro.
change the fact
They're gonna save him.
that I believe in the life.
Did you think somebody was going to come save him? Like, literally?
Yeah, bro. I didn't look at the time. I was like, somebody's has
So,
to come
and
get him.
the studio wanted them to change the ending that the rain happened and it came through and it saved his life, and they refused to do it as filmmakers. They were like, nope, this is the movie we wanted to make.
Well,
I
that would have
really
made the
wanted to
crop
see-
come back.
I would have loved to
I'd
see
love
like
that.
an actual sun god come down and just like bless the land and fruit starts growing.
Boom.
Eternal.
All worth
as
it.
promised to us by
I'll
our
get
Lord Jesus
CGI.
Christ.
I believe in the life eternal.
That is good.
Look at all
For
these
believing
blondes.
what you do, we confer upon you a rare gift.
His hair is
today.
crazy. I love it.
Yeah.
A martyr's death. It is time to keep your appointment.
He looks like the sun god himself right there.
Yeah, that was the meaning
Yeah.
of his hair.
With the yellow and the wild hair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
it's a good catch.
Oh God! Oh Jesus Christ!
It's Godzilla!
Yeah, dude, you're gonna need him if
Oh my
you're gonna get out of this one.
Christ! No!
That
This
he
was-
does so good. He's such a good
Yeah,
actor.
this was really
Yeah.
good.
The
I was
passion
gonna,
here is incredible.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I've seen the clip of the Wicker Man, the new one, and you know it's obviously Nicolas Cage being over dramatic, but this is what I was expecting from this, and it was just like perfect. I was
Yeah.
like, oh damn, this is a really great ending.
Be gone! No, Christ!
Burn, baby, burn.
I'm like, save him, somebody save him. I really was, bro.
Nah, let him burn.
This is
Raph-
what made this really good.
Raph, I've seen this movie 25 times,
You
and
still
probably,
say that?
and I still think, okay, this time
It's
he's gonna
win.
get out of it.
I'm watching
Yeah,
the
this time.
director's cut finally. It's gonna happen.
Which there is a director's cut. I don't know if anyone watched it. There are added scenes to that, of course. But
I think anything longer than an hour and a half for this movie is painful.
there's a lot of
Keep it-
scenes that take place before he gets
No,
to the island. is
There's a
what it is.
huge dance
Yeah.
number
No.
they cut though in the third
Fuck all
act, and
that.
it would have really made it a lot more of a flow.
The hour and a
Theatrical
half
cut.
is perfect.
Perfect, absolutely perfect.
Hear them piggy squealing.
The Adam was, and you can see him burning when they pull away.
So according to the actress who played the titties with the big ass, I can't think of her name, the blonde girl, she said
Fred
that
Eklund.
she said that they did burn the animals, but according to the director, they pulled all the animals out before they burned the effigy. So
I somehow believe her more than him.
Yeah, how is that? It is true.
Yeah. And look, you can see the stuntman still in there.
you're right, you're right. I love that shot. Like that had to have been an impossible shot to get, and then it sits on that for a long time. All right, guys, that was The Wicker Man. Fucking awesome movie. Let's do recommendations. The
Yeah.
first recommendation will be The Wicker Man. Who would have saw that coming? Yeah, we're talking about the remake because regardless of the fact that it is bad, it is highly watchable. And it's a good bad movie. You know what I mean? It's one of those movies that they meant
No.
to do well by it, but they did not do well by it. And Nicolas
No.
Cage is over the top Nicolas Caging the whole way through this movie. I enjoy it. I totally want to watch it for the cast at some point. The fact that they use twins as a story element, the fact that they send out somebody to get impregnated and then they use them as the bounty every year, the fact that they had that tag at the end with James Franco, I just think this movie works. And it's also really bad. I love it. So it's really cool. The second recommendation, we kept saying it over and over again, Midsummer. If you haven't seen it, Raph,
Yeah.
you need to see it, dude. It's so fucking good. It is, as Javi says, a day ruiner. I guess it could be, but as a movie, it's so good. Good, Alex. What do you think?
You know what's weird is Midsummer, when it's over, it actually makes me happy. Watching Midsummer is like having a good cry, and then you feel better afterwards.
Oh,
It's-
wow.
dude.
That's a good
I think that
analogy.
is definitely the. I think that's the message. Like, yeah, because she starts
Yeah.
out so miserable.
Yeah.
I love
And-
how she's such a shitty girlfriend at the end of it, though. She's just looking at him like, With that pouty
No, I
face.
love that. I love that.
No,
That's-
dude,
I read-
she was just giving comeuppance to a really shitty boyfriend.
Yeah, he wasn't a
I-
good guy, but you know.
I read something somewhere that said Midsummer's part of a genre of films called Good for Her, and I agree with that.
I love that. I love that.
That's a good one.
All right, guys, got any recommendations down the line? What do we got? Recommendations.
Oh, go ahead.
I want to recommend Con Air.
Yes, you're right.
Great movie.
It's a great
That's
fucking
it.
movie.
I'm done.
Dave Chappelle plays 8-Ball. It's wonderful. Is that really your recommendations, Raph?
Yeah, bro. I
All right,
really love
Con
that
Air. It
movie.
is. I love Con Air too. Miles, Jay, Alex, you got a recommendation?
Sure, I got a recommendation.
What you got?
Anyone want to go first?
No, you go first. You're talking.
I want to recommend Santa Sangre.
What the fuck is that?
It's a Spanish horror movie from 19. I can't remember. It's 30, 40 years ago by Alejandro Jodorowsky. It's basically the Mexican version of Psycho. It's awesome. I love it.
Nice.
Oh, that sounds good.
Very nice.
So the 90s were not 40 years ago.
No. Miles, what you got?
Whenever Alex said the good for her genre, it made me think of one. I'm gonna throw out "I Spit on Your Grave," which is a insanely over the top violent. But man, if there's a maybe lead or I don't know, the pioneer of the good for her movement, I might say could be that film.
Yeah, I like the Good for Her movies. Jay, what you got?
Well, I was thinking a lot about this, and you mentioned specifically, movies that the horror takes place during the day to some extent. I know we did Children of the Corn last year for Thanksgiving, but another movie that a lot of people think kind of inspired Children of the Corn was a TV movie with Betty Davis. You can actually watch it is a two-parter, and it's called The Dark Secret of Harvest Home. And it has a lot to do with female energy, and I'll leave it at that. But it's a fun little watch. And it's definitely more fast-paced than The Wicker Man, but it's definitely kind of in this whole thing.
What was that called?
It's another good. The Dark Secret of Harvest Home.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, guys. Well, let's tell them where they can find you on the internet. Raph, where can they find you?
RFLSON on YouTube.
Very nice. Miles, where can they find you?
I'm Mr. Most Days Off pretty much everywhere, and you can check out my Simpsons podcast at Best Darn Diddley.
Alex, do you have a where they can find you on the internet? You were doing reviews there for a while.
Yeah. I haven't touched my review page in 2 months. At Action Bastard Reviews, if you want to look me up, I'll probably post something eventually.
Fuck yeah. And you can find us at wearepodcast.podbean.com, where you can find all the podcasts. And, of course, you can find us every Monday for Camp/Horrorcast. We talk horror movies from the past live at 8 p.m. Central. Next week, I think, will be The Black Phone, because it just came out. I'm super interested in talking about it with all y'all. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to slot that in there. With that said, thank you so much for watching. Guys, thank you for being here. Keep horror in your heart. I have to pee super bad, so I'm rushing through this as quick as possible. Thank you so much for watching.
Bye.
Have a good one, and let's cut the feed.